Jerry Jeudy, he's my favorite wide receiver in this draft. Tua Tagovailoa, he is the quarterback at number 4, and then number 3 was Isaiah Simmons, the star linebacker out of Clemson, a monster. Before we get to 2 and 1, I want to give you my favorite story of this entire draft, the wild card of this draft class. Guys, do you know who Kyle Duggar is from Lenoir-Rhyne? Lenoir-Rhyne is a Division II school in North Carolina, a town called Hickory, North Carolina. This guy here is a 23-year-old player who played 6 years at Division II Lenoir-Rhyne. 6 years.
6 years?
6 years, because of injuries bounced around. He's not a doctor. He is 6'2", 220 pounds, and was the best defensive player in all of Division II this year. Won the Cliff Harris Award. Absolutely dominated at this level. And guys, he's a freakish athlete. They say that he could run a 4.4 40. He could jump a 40-inch vertical, and he did it all at Lenoir-Rhyne College. Lenoir-Rhyne. The Lenoir-Rhyne Bears, of course, Kay.
Joe and Josie Bear are their mascots.
Those are the mascots. This guy right here is one of these amazing stories.
Punt returner?
Punt returner, defensive back, played running back at times, played wide receiver, did it all at that level. Guys, played 6 seasons, as I said, was also a dynamic return man. Here's the deal. He got an invite to the Senior Bowl because there would be like this crazy YouTube footage of him. The Senior Bowl says, why don't you come? Shows up to the Senior Bowl, not only plays great in practices, leads the entire game in tackles with 7, and blows up athletically. Now they're talking.
I got a feeling about this one.
Day 2 pick. Who knows? Maybe a day 1 pick if he explodes at the combine. One of these freakish athletes, but also one of these great kids. Guys, the last NFL player drafted out of Lenoir-Rhyne was John Millam in 2000, a defensive end for the 49ers. Not a long history of players coming out of this school, yet notable alumni Perry Fewell, who of course is a defensive coach, and Mike Pope, the great tight ends coach for the Giants and Cowboys. But this is not a football factory. Kyle Duggar is a name to watch, an amazing story coming out of Lenoir-Rhyne. All right, now let's get to numbers 2 and number 1. Number 2 on my entire list. My number 2 prospect in this combine is Joe Burrow, the Heisman winner. Joe Burrow lit it up this year. 60 touchdown passes in college football, unheard of numbers, and did it with an LSU team that he made undefeated and took them to the national championship. Comes from bloodlines of football. His father was a great defensive coach. He was at the University of Ohio for 14 years, decided to retire so he can follow his son, who was at Ohio State. Of course, Joe Burrow transfers from Ohio State to LSU, finally gets put in the lineup, and has one of the greatest college football seasons ever. You know what he did, but do you know that his body type is perfect for the NFL? 6'3", 6'4", big arm, and it's one of those things where you want to say, but is it a one-year wonder? He had so much talent around him. Scouts are looking at the film and saying, Joe Burrow's legit. Joe Burrow is legit. Joe Burrow should have been playing at Ohio State, and because he made this move to LSU, gets the opportunity, and he showed it in the biggest of stages. There's no real holes in his game. There's no real holes in his attitude. There's no real holes in his leadership. He's pretty much the number 1 quarterback prospect for all the reasons you would want. Leadership, physical ability, size, and oh yeah, he won at the college level. I'm a huge Tua fan, but this guy's 100% healthy, and he's coming in as a 23-year-old man. He's been through it. He's transferred. He wasn't always the guy. Shows up at LSU this year and is now a legend down in Baton Rouge. So if he's not number 1, who is? Well, how about maybe the best pass rusher to enter the NFL draft in quite some time?
Oh, boy.
Chase Young, defensive end out of Ohio State. My top prospect in this entire draft. 6'2", 250 pounds, and absolutely dominant. Guys, we've seen Myles Garrett. We've seen Jadeveon Clowney. We've seen so many other guys go number 1 overall as a defensive end. We've never seen someone so polished at the college game come out like this. He is far more polished than Clowney was. He accomplished far more than Myles Garrett did in college. And what he did in the Big Ten this year was absolutely spectacular. They played against Purdue in a big game. He dominated. They played against Wisconsin, against that Wisconsin offensive line that you always hear about. This is that game. He had 4 sacks against the Wisconsin offensive line. 4 sacks. Goes up against Michigan, dominates, and then the college football playoff was absolutely unblockable there as well. Complete defensive end, a leader, everything you want from a player. Chase Young is that guy. You know, we always like to do player comparisons. Our producer, Matt Hamilton, and I were talking, like Von Miller's the most, I guess, apt player. I guess Von Miller could do a little bit more at the linebacker spot. He's a pure defensive end, plays at left and right. But the names that come up are Hall of Fame type names. I don't want to put that on any kid. but Chase Young is my #1 prospect in this entire draft. He will dominate the combine, and he might go #2 overall to the Washington Redskins, if not #1 overall if there's some trade at the top. He is that good. Surefire prospect, Chase Young.
Hey, listen. Did I read this right? Joe Burrow was one of the top hoopers in high school in a tough division of Ohio high school players.
Yes, he's from Athens, Ohio, and he would dominate in that league as well. So he played basketball. Now he plays football. He went from Ohio State to LSU. I think he's got all sorts of different things you like about him. There's really no holes in his game.
I want to go back to Duggar.
Yeah, Kyle Duggar. What do you got?
Look, I'm looking at this board, your top 10. I see a lot of Ohio State, a lot of LSU, Clemson guy as usual. How much is it going to hurt him that he did come out of a smaller school?
Oh, I don't know if it hurts him, but they have to do a lot of work on him that they hadn't been doing. Like, for them, example, Grant Delpit, they've been scouting him for 7 years since he was in high school. He's been on Rivals.com. Tua, we've known, we watch every Saturday. You get a guy like this who has 7 tackles in the Senior Bowl, and you're like, wait a second, am I really putting my name as a GM on a guy who I had never heard of 3 months ago? Now you got to do the work. You got to ask everybody in his life, and you've got to make sure he's the guy at the combine.
But the Senior Bowl really helped him as well.
Oh, it was
huge. Put him on the map.
Huge. The fact he got invited was amazing, and then to actually show up and show out, an unbelievable story. Kyle Duggar, Lenore Ryan.
Sounds like a kid who showed up knowing a line of people.
Line of people, and he's just same pose the whole time. Big old ring right here.
Love that. This is our show. Happy Friday and happy Valentine's Day. We keep talking Super Bowl, but it was a really good one. It was exciting. It was the 100th year of the NFL, and over 100 million people watched. Not just here in the U.S., of course, but Germany, China, Brazil, Poland, everywhere. So let's take a look and a listen to some of the best play-by-play calls from all around the world. I love this stuff.
Believe that this is our moment. Ain't no better time to be great than today.
Kickoff. Mitch Wisnowski, the Australian, sets us underway in Miami.
Mahomes en movimiento. Mahomes tiene el balón y tiene el touchdown. Por tierra, Patrick Mahomes.
4分钟的时间，现在已经推进到了红区之中。特勒伯勒跑出来，完成连线，还在推进，达阵了，49人。在这一波攻势里面，顺风顺水，最终是有可能全联盟最。
Da kommt der Druck, da kommt der lange Pass und der ist ja völlig frei. Das ist Tyreek Hill mit einem riesen Catch.
Premier essai-debut, Patrick Mahomes, last kick day, Travis Kelce, touché, Kansas City.
Garoppolo looks to go deep downfield, and he overthrows that one, and he had a man open in Emmanuel Sanders. Garoppolo couldn't target him.
Jogo terrestre de novo, Damian Williams, corta para lateral, first down e muito mais, escapa, é campeão, 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 campeão! Touchdown do campeão! Do campeão! 50 anos depois, vai Kansas City Chiefs!
Thank you, Kansas City. We did it, baby.
Wow. Is your mind blown?
I love that.
International game, baby.
The guys screaming in Portuguese, touchdown! That's the coolest thing in the world. I love that.
I do too, and I love the mariachi band at the end there, very Miami. Will Selva's out in the newsroom now. Let's send it over his way for some news.
Absolutely. What's going on there, Kay? Guys, happy Valentine's Day to you all. Love those calls, those international ones. And now that he won't be squinting his way through games, quarterback Jameis Winston can concentrate on cutting down on his turnovers with his redone LASIK eyes. We still don't know, however, if he'll be testing out his vision with the Bucs. That's because the team's sole focus isn't on who is under center. No, there's other priorities, according to head coach Bruce Arians. Arians says it all really starts with the whole defense. Arians says he doesn't care who's his quarterback. They need to have a defense. Shaq Barrett and Ndamukong Suh and Jason Pierre-Paul are 3 of several pending free agents on the defensive side of the ball. Now, finding a quarterback isn't a priority in Pittsburgh either. The Steelers hoping Ben Roethlisberger will be 100% healthy from his elbow injury. It sidelined him for almost the entire season. General manager Kevin Colbert says they don't think Big Ben's at the end of his road. Colbert gave Steelers.com an update on Big Ben's health.
He goes to see the surgeon out in California. I believe it's February 21st. And we'll see where his progression is. All indications are the progression is where it needs to be at this point. But we understand he's a right-armed, right-handed quarterback that had surgery on his right arm. So we have to be realistic and understand that those types of things have to be proven throughout the spring and the summer as he progresses through. So we'll see. We're very optimistic. The doctors, I'm not basing that on an opinion, that's a professional opinion of our doctors. And Ben will find out for himself as he goes through it.
Once again, that was from Steelers.com. Meanwhile, Colbert is also hoping to have a productive and healthy James Conner for the upcoming season. Conner plagued by knee and shoulder injuries. Colbert believes he had an unfortunate year when the year before Conner was one of the best in the league. Colbert also says they know there's talent there and hopes Conner can regain it, especially if he's healthy. Last season, he had just 464 rushing yards and 7 total touchdowns. He's also going to be in the final year of his contract, so 2020 is going to be a big year, not only for Conner, but for the Steelers as well.
They almost made the playoffs. They were this close, and they battled injuries the entire time. I would expect them to make waves with their 38-year-old quarterback coming off of throwing arm injury.
I don't know. Them Ravens are tough, though.
Are you talking about your Browns right now? You want to go ahead and crown them really quickly?
Man, Cincinnati got Joe Burrow. I'm just saying.
We wanted to quickly put a birthday crown on our line producer, Brandy Lee, who has a birthday coming up. We will not be here for it, so we wanted to give her a little peek into the newsroom. There she is.
Brandy
and
Lee.
Cece, I didn't tell you this, but she is literally the biggest Yankees fan. So look at that camera and give her a shout out.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to Brandy Lee, her day.
Thank you.